This is the January 2023 paper 1. Each sentence has either one or two words missing. Choose from the 4 options the word or pair of words which best completes the meaning of the sentence. 1. Despite his short temper, his willingness to give of his wealth to help others to succeed led people to call him blank. Is it hasty, foolish, benevolent, or old-fashioned? We know that we're looking for a positive word which will balance his short temper, and the only positive word there is benevolent, which means kind. 2. The journalists were impressed by the blank of the statesman whose speeches had a profound blank on all who heard him. And the pair we're going for, A. Eloquence and effect. The journalists were impressed by the eloquence of the statesman whose speeches had a profound effect on all who heard him. Number 3. Are you trying to blank that all along he knew of the plot to oust the committee? A. Clarify. B. Accuse. C. Identify. D. Insinuate. And we're going for D, which is insinuate. Insinuate means to suggest. So are you trying to suggest that all along he knew of the plot? 4. After reviewing the medical file and having many consultations with the patient, the surgeons decided on the best blank for the surgery, and the answer is B, procedure. Number 5. Most persons are usually blank, those who say one thing and practice another, and we're going straight for contemptuous of. That means you're disgusted by them, you can't stand them, right? Most persons are usually contemptuous of those who say one thing and practice another. Here we are to choose a word or phrase that is most opposite in meaning to the underlined word or words. Number 6. The guest speaker's address was devoid of humor, and this made persons uneasy. And the words we have underlined are devoid of, which means completely lacking. So we'll choose A, which is the opposite, full of. Number 7. Their actions showed that they were firm in their rejection of the new law. And the opposite of rejection is acceptance. Number 8. He was eager to share the news with his friends. Opposite of eager is reluctant. Number 9. The president of the Students' Association never mentioned the treasurer's integrity. Integrity is the quality of being honest. So the opposite of that is dishonesty. D. 10. It seems improbable that the country will maintain the curfew for another week. If something is improbable, that means it's very unlikely. So the opposite of that is likely. Revise each of the following sentences according to the directions that follow it. Do not change the meaning of the original sentence. Look at the options A to D for the word or phrase that best suits the revised sentence. 11. People from crowded nations cannot get over the accessibility of Canada's natural environment in all of its magnificence. We're to begin the sentence with, it is impossible for, and we are going to include the words to get over. Our new sentence will be, it is impossible for people from crowded nations to get over the accessibility of Canada's natural environment in all of its magnificence. 12. The cricket match ended abruptly when many of the spectators stormed the field. Begin the sentence with, many of the spectators stormed the field, and we're going to choose the word so to be included in our new sentence. Many of the spectators stormed the field, so the cricket match ended abruptly. abruptly. 13. More is experienced in one day of the life of a learned man than an ignorant man experiences in his whole lifetime. Begin the sentence with a learned man. And we're going to choose experiences more in one day to be included in our sentence. So, a learned man experiences more in one day than an ignorant man experiences in his whole lifetime. 14. During my time at school, I was involved in extracurricular activities. We're to begin our sentence with I was involved in, and we're going to include while I was. New sentence, I was involved in extracurricular activities while I was at school. 15. If Charlie invites me, I will go to his party. Begin the sentence with were Charlie to invite me. And we are going to be including the phrase I would go. So, were Charlie to invite me to his party, I would go. In the following sentences, one of the underlined words may be misspelled. Choose from the three options A, B, or C the word that is misspelled. If no word is misspelled, choose option D. 16. Can you assure me that the proposition will be accepted by the committee? The error is in the word accepted. It should be spelled A-C-C-E-P-T-E-D. 17. He played within the perimeter of the picnic area and approached the fence cautiously. The misspelled word is picnic. There's no K in picnic. It's P-I-C-N-I-C. 18. When the museum purchased his paintings, the patrons posted many compliments. Now the error is at C. There is a compliment that's spelled C-O-M-P-L-E-M-E-N-T-S, but that's not the one that we need in this sense. That one means something that goes well with something else. The compliments we need means to express praise or admiration to somebody, and it is spelled C-O-M-P-L-I-M-E-N-T-S. Number 19. After embarrassing his colleague, his conscience bothered him and he eventually apologized. And our error is at C with conscience. And here we have that pesky E and I combination again. In this case, the I needs to come before the E. C-O-N-S-C-I-E-N-C-E, conscience. It sounds like conscience. At least it doesn't sound like conscience. It's spelt like conscience, but it's pronounced conscience. Number 20. He thought it best to sacrifice the match and submit to the ridicule of the team for his friend's sake. And there's no error here. There are no errors, so we move on. Each sentence in this section is followed by 4 sentences, A, B, C, and D. Choose the one nearest in meaning to the original sentence. 21. So engrossed was he in his task, he did not hear his sister enter the room. And we're going to choose D. He was so preoccupied with what he was doing that he wasn't unaware of his sister's entry. Number 22. I cannot understand why you have done this since you tell me that Mark means a lot to you. And the answer is A. Since Mark means a lot to you, the reason for your action is puzzling to me. Number 23. Recent floods have made the roads impassable. The answer is C. The roads cannot be used as a result of the floods. 24. Realizing that her suitcase was left on the bus, the woman desperately tried to attract the conductor's attention. And the answer is B. When the woman became aware that she had left her suitcase, She tried her best to attract the attention of the bus conductor. 25. Water pollution is a common problem because people thoughtlessly dump their garbage in watercourse. The answer is C. Water pollution takes place because people negligently dump their garbage in watercourses. Our first comprehension passage is a poem called Nature. We have neither summer nor winter, neither autumn nor spring. We have instead the days when the gold sun shines on the lush green cane fields magnificently. The days when the rain beats like bullets on the roofs, and there is no sound but the swish of water in the gullies, and the trees struggling in the high Caribbean winds. Also, there are the days when the leaves fade from off the guanga trees, and the reaped cane fields lie bare and fallow in the sun. But best of all, there are the days when the mango and the logwood blossom, when the bushes are full of the sound of bees and the scent of honey, when the tall grass sways and shivers to the slightest breath of air, when the buttercups have paved the earth with yellow stars, and beauty comes suddenly, and the rains have gone. Question 26. What feeling does this poem evoke in the speaker? Is it delight, anxiety, nostalgia, or annoyance? And the answer is nostalgia, which is fondly looking back at the past. 27. The poem appeals most to the sense of sight. 28. The we in the poem, A, dislikes the four seasons, B, is now learning about this place, C, has participated in the harvesting, or D, sees the mango season as the best time. It says, but best of all, there are the days when the mango and the logwood blossom. So the answer is D. Question 29. Which of the following lines suggests a change of focus in the poem? Is it line 1? No, we'll ignore that. The poem just started. No change there. Is it line 4? When the gold sun shines on the lush green cane fields? Or line 12? But best of all, there are the days when the mango ... Or is it line 20? And beauty comes suddenly and the rains have gone. And we're going to go for, but best of all are the days when the mango and the logwood blossoms. C. And the reason I've chosen that one as where a change takes place is prior to that, the writer was talking about mainly the weather. We read about the sun and the wind and the rains, but now it starts talking about the beauty of the vegetation, the flowers and the bees. So C. Question 30. Lines 18 to 19. The buttercups have paved the earth with yellow stars are an example of and its personification. The buttercups paving the earth is giving human qualities to something that's non-human. Here's an extract from The Pearl by John Steinbeck. Kino and Warner came to the place where the brush houses stopped and the city of stone and plaster began. The city of harsh outer walls and inner cool gardens where a little water played and the bougainvillea crusted the wall with purple and brick red and white. They heard from the secret gardens the singing of caged birds and heard the splash of cooling water on the hot flagstones. The procession crossed the blinding plaza and passed in front of the church. It had grown now, and in the outskirt the hurrying newcomers were being softly informed how the baby had been stung by a scorpion, how the father and mother were taking it to the doctor. And the newcomers, particularly the beggars from the front of the church, who were great experts in financial analysis, looked quickly at Juana's old blue skirt, saw the tears in her shawl, appraised the green ribbon on her braids, read the age of Kino's blanket and the 1,000 washings of his clothes, and set them down as poverty people, and went along to see what kind of trauma might develop. The 4 beggars in front of the church knew everything in the town. They were students of the expressions of young women as they went into confession, and they saw them as they came out and read the nature of the sin. They knew every little scandal and some very big crimes. They slept at their posts in the shadow of the church so that no one crept in for consolation without their knowledge. And they knew the doctor. They knew his ignorance, his cruelty, his avarice, his appetite, his sins. They knew his clumsy abortions and the little brown pennies he gave sparingly for alms. They had seen his corpses go into the church, and since early mass was over and business was slow, they followed the procession, these endless searchers after perfect knowledge of their fellow men, to see what the fat, lazy doctor would do about an indigent baby with a scorpion bite. The scurrying procession came at last to the big gate in the wall of the doctor's house. They could hear the splashing of the water and the singing of caged birds and the sweep of the long brooms on the flagstones. And they could smell the frying of good bacon from the doctor's house. Kino hesitated a moment. This doctor was not of his people. This doctor was of a race which for nearly 400 years had beaten and starved and robbed and despised Kino's race, and frightened it too, so that the indigent came humbly to the door. And as always, when he came near to one of this race, Kino felt weak and afraid and angry at the same time. Rage and terror went together. He could kill the doctor more easily than he could talk to him, for all of the doctor's race spoke to all of Kino's race as though they were simple animals. And as Kino raised his right hand to the iron ring knocker in the gate, rage swelled in him, and the pounding music of the enemy beat in his ears, and his lips drew tight against his teeth. But with his left hand he reached to take off his hat. The iron ring pounded against the gate. Kino took off his hat and stood waiting. Coyotito moaned a little in Juana's arms, and she spoke softly to him. The procession crowded close, the better to see and hear. Question 31. The writer uses secret to describe the gardens because they were hidden from view. The occupants whispered there. Many people did not know them. Many treasures were concealed there. And the answer is A. They were hidden from view. Question 32. The word procession indicates that the crowd was A. going to a funeral, B. moving about aimlessly, C. walking together like a mob, or D. moving in an orderly group. Well, we know they weren't going to a funeral, neither were they moving about aimlessly. They knew exactly where they were going. They weren't walking like a mob because they weren't unruly. So they were moving in an orderly group. Question 33. Which of the following statement is not true about the beggars? They knew about human nature. They were inquisitive about people. They had a good relationship with the doctor. They knew everything that went on around them. Well, we know that they knew about human nature. They were inquisitive about people, and they knew everything that went on. They were very nosy. But we have no evidence that they had a good relationship with the doctor, so the answer is C. 34. In the passage, the expression great expert in financial analysis means that the beggars, A, were able to add their alms quickly, B, had many years of experience in begging, C, could analyze the financial state of the country, or D, could immediately determine the rich from the poor. And we're going to choose D. We've learned that they were experts in financial analysis because they were able to look at one's skirt. They appraised the ribbon on her braids. They read the age of Kino's blanket, all the washings it had gone through, and they decided that they were poor people. So the answer is D. 35. The description in paragraph 2 conveys to the reader the impression of fear and hatred, happiness and love, harshness and poverty, comfort and prosperity. And the answer is C, harshness and poverty. Question 36. According to the passage, Kino hesitated a moment because he had to calm his anger and hatred, was afraid to approach the doctor, wondered whether he had enough money, or he wanted to kill the doctor with his bare hands. And the answer is A, had to calm his anger and hatred. 37. In the passage, the sentence, "This doctor was not of his people," suggests that the doctor, A, did not respect Kino's people, B, did not understand Kino's people, C, was not born in the city as Kino was, or D, came from a background different from Kino's. And the answer is D, different background from Kino's. 38. Which of the following is not illustrated in the passage? The kindness of the beggars, the curiosity of the city people, the suffering of Wana and Kino, or the contrast between the rich and the poor? And the answer is A. We did not see illustrated the kindness of the beggars. Here's the next passage. When the traditional family unit is discussed, it is usually in terms of the external social changes that are threatening its existence as an institution. Little thought is given to the internal problems of normal homes. The central problem for most family members is, of course, how to get along with each other. This internal matter is not without its external implications, for only where there are orderly and peaceful families can there be an orderly and peaceful society. Of all the social changes that have affected the family in recent years, by far the most significant has been the increase in the number of mothers of school-aged children who have taken outside employment. In Canada, some 75% of women in this category now have full-time or part-time jobs. For the most part, economic imperatives have left women no choice but to work for money. An income sufficient to maintain the lifestyle of an average family took one Canadian 48 hours a week to earn in the 1950s. It takes two people 65 to 75 hours a week to earn that income today. The conflicts between work and family life and scarcity of time to devote to children have taken a personal toll on women in the form of stress and depression. Obviously, individuals under stress are harder to deal with than those who are not. So the tensions of work are carried over into tensions in mother-child relationships. Men too report feeling stressed out and squeezed between work and family obligations. Males raised in the tradition of mothers doing everything in the home are inclined to be lax in doing housework and awkward in the unaccustomed role of actively nurturing children. But if a two-income family is to run smoothly and fairly, the household work must be shared. Another profound change in family relationships lies in the relatively high incidence of divorce and marital separations in Western societies. The fact that so many couples feel they must go their separate ways illustrates just how difficult it is for people to live together satisfactorily at the best of times. Question 39. According to paragraph 1, which of the following results from conflict between family members? A. Disorder in societies. B. Anxiety in the workplace. C. Disruptive behavior in home. Or D. High levels of tension between parents. We're going to choose disorder in societies. We're told in the passage that only where there are orderly and peaceful families can there be an orderly and peaceful society. Question 40. According to the passage, all of the following threaten the existence of the family except A. The high divorce rate in Western societies. B. Conflicts between employers and working parents. C. Problems family members experience in getting along. Or D. The increase in the number of mothers of school-age children working outside of the home. And the only one that was not mentioned as a threat to the existence of the family is B. Conflicts between employers and working parents. Question 41. The word closest in meaning to imperatives is A. Matters, B. Demands, C. Concerns, or D. Guidelines. Let's see how it's used. Economic imperatives have left women no choice but to work. Imperatives here are things that are essential or urgent. So we will go for B, which is demands, economic demands. Question 42. In paragraph 2, the writer compares income in the 1950s to income today to show what? Is it to show that people today work longer hours for the same pay as in the 1950s? Is it to show that people earned more in the 1950s than today? People today do not work as hard as people in the 1950s? Or a single income cannot adequately support an average family? Let's review the evidence. An income sufficient to maintain the lifestyle of an average family took one Canadian 48 hours a week to earn in the 1950s. It takes two people 65 to 75 hours a week to earn that income today. And right before that, remember it had told us that economic imperatives have left women no choice but to work for money. And that is why we are going to go to D. The writer is saying all of that to say that a single income cannot adequately support an average family. Question 43. The writer suggests in lines 13 to 16 that tensions in mother-child relationships can occur because mothers, 1, are dealing with the stress of work, 2, are unable to help children who are under stress. 3, lack sufficient time to care for children. Now let's review the evidence that we've got. Right, so the conflicts between work and family life and scarcity of time to devote to children have taken a personal toll on women in the form of stress and depression. Obviously, individuals under stress are harder to deal with than those who are not. So the tensions of work are carried over into tensions in mother-child relationships. So we are going to go for B, 1 and 3 only. 1 says they are dealing with the stress of work. 3 says they lack sufficient time to care for children. 2, they are unable to help children who are under stress. We ignore because it mentioned nothing about the children being under stress. Question 44. The writer's main purpose is to A, focus on the problems experienced by men, B, reveal the problems experienced by men, women, and children, C, highlight some of the internal problems threatening the family, D, show that single-income families function better than two-income families. Now we see right at the beginning, it tells us that when traditional family unit is discussed, it is usually in terms of external social changes that are threatening its existence as an institution, and that there's little thought given to the internal problems of normal home. So right at the beginning, set the stage that what we're going to look at is the internal problems that normal people are facing. So that is why we're going to go for C, highlight some of the internal problems threatening the family. Question 45. Couples feel they must go their separate ways because of high divorce rates, an inability to live harmoniously, difficulty with Western societies, or changes in relations in good times. And the answer is B, an inability to live harmoniously. 46. The tone of the passage may be best described as mocking, indignant, analytical, or complaining. And the answer is analytical. They're investigating it, looking at it from different angles. Music too loud, I can't study. This is the title of our next passage. Dear editor, I just can't take it anymore. I just can't take the noise forced on me by a restaurant and bar located across the street. The noise is unbearable and I cannot concentrate on my studies. I am writing the CSEC exams in May-June this year and I must pass all my subjects. I am attending a reputable girls' school and I want to make good grades to get into the CAPE class. I work hard and every report so far indicates that I am an above average student. I want to make my mother proud. She's a hard-working woman, especially since my father passed away 2 years ago. We have been struggling to make ends meet without any complaint. But I must complain now because the restaurant and bar is intent on frustrating my ambitions and the sacrifices my mother is making. I appreciate the help of the government in providing opportunities for education, but this is going to be futile unless it is possible to take full advantage of them. Can you imagine having to struggle with a math problem with thunderous noise bombarding your eardrums and everything in the house jumping up and down as if the place is haunted? Can you imagine speaking to a classmate about homework and you can't hear each other? Can you imagine stuffing cotton in your ears in order to get some sleep? Can you imagine trying to explain to your teacher that you didn't do your homework or that you sleep in class because of the noise coming from the restaurant and bar? The noise coming from this place is a serious obstacle that I am unable to overcome, and I am seeking help in dealing with it. Can you imagine my mother and her 16-year-old daughter going to this place in the midst of riotous drinking to ask them to turn down the music because I want to study or just to get some sleep? I understand that residents have been calling the police, but the response has been ineffective. At the moment of writing this letter, which is Sunday 19 at 9:30 a.m., they are blasting away after going late into last night. Under the guise of carnival, they will continue their merciless onslaught. From Carnival Friday night right up until Ash Wednesday morning, they will continue non-stop. There will be total madness. Number 47. I just can't take it anymore implies that the writer is crying, arguing, shouting, or frustrated, and the answer is frustrated. 48. The sentence, I work hard and every report so far indicates that I am an above average student, suggests that the writer is boastful, pleading, about to fail her examinations, wants to sustain this performance. The answer is D. She wants to sustain this performance. 49. The effect that is created by the repetition of I in the first paragraph can be best described as highlighting the writer's distress, arguments, impression, or misunderstandings, and the answer is distress. Question 50. Which of the following language devices does the writer use most in paragraph 2 to explain her plights? And the answer is rhetorical questions. You see all of these questions coming up. And rhetorical questions are questions that are there not so much to be answered, but are put there for a dramatic effect or to prove a point. Question 51. Which of the following words best conveys the emotion that the writer is seeking to arouse in the reader? And the answer is D, empathy. The writer, she wants us to feel with her, to feel her pain, and that's what empathy is. Number 52. Thunderous noise bombarding your eardrums are an example of irony, hyperbole, alliteration, or personification. The answer is hyperbole, which is exaggeration. Now she's exaggerating the noise coming from next door by comparing it to thunder. Number 53. What effect does the writer achieve when she says, can you imagine my mother and her 16-year-old daughter going to this place in the midst of riotous drinking? Is it criticism for their actions in going to a bar? Surprise that the women should hesitate to go to a bar? Admiration from the reader for the women's courage? Or scorn for the women's behavior in going into a bar? And the answer is C. Admiration from the reader for the women's courage. Question 54. The last sentence of the passage expresses the view that A. Carnival will be more festive. B. The noise will become worse. C. The writer will become hysterical. D. The writer's mother will quarrel with the restaurant owner. Right, so the sentence is there will be total madness, referring to what's going to happen on Carnival weekend. And the answer is the noise will become worse. This is an advert for a symposium. I'm not going to go through all of the details. It's not very practical because of the way it's laid out, so you might want to stop the video now and look at it a little bit closer. 55. According to the information provided, the main theme of the symposium is, and we can see the topic right at the top there, it's adolescent health. Question 56. Which of the following groups is not a sponsor of the symposium? Right, so we've got the Ministry of Youth there, we've got National Council on Drug Abuse, we've got Conference of Churches, among others. The only one here in this list we haven't got is B, Ministry of Health. 57. Which of the following words can best replace symposium in the advert? Is it exhibition, conference, discussion, or conversation? And the answer is conference. Symposium is a conference. 58. All of the following groups are specifically invited to attend the symposium except youth groups, members of the public, parents of young people, doctors, nurses, and other health workers. Now let's see on our list of attendees here, or invitees. We've got interested members of the public, we've got members of youth group, and we've got medical personnel. So the only one there that's not in the list above, they are the parents of young people. C. On 59, how can those who want to participate register for the event? Right, it's right there. How to attend. Contact Yvonne Dalton at the Ministry of Health, and there you go, there's a phone number. So we go straight for B, call the Ministry of Health and speak to Yvonne Dalton. And our final question for this paper, the main address is to be delivered by, right, so cast your eyes right at the bottom left and you'll see feature address by, and the name is Bukawela Tudor. So that's A.